Welcome back, PCS fans, to day number 2 of PCS action. Uh, the game number 1 was a bit of a snoozy. We're hoping game number 2 between FAK Esports and Beyond Gaming, that'll be more of a doozy. But before we dive into the game, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, CDBC Bank, the winner of last game. They sponsor our league, but also shout out to Rat Games, Carry Live, and Garena for taking care of all the operations. Now, Jenny, now we can talk about FAK Esports and Beyond Gaming, who have both locked in playoffs after Duish team did take a loss.
Yep, so FAK Esports as well as BYG are definitely confirmed in the 5th and 6th spots right now. Pretty much for these teams, towards the end of the regular season is just about kind of jostling for how far up the leaderboard they can go, because both of these teams are 7 and 6. They are tied 5th place. BYG kind of coming off of the loss of their PSG rematch yesterday, but I mean both these teams, just in terms of pure standings, still have the potential to make it into the 4th place spot if they do manage to overtake J team. So it's a bit hard to kind of catch up to the top 3 teams at the top of the table. We've been saying, 1st and 2nd, get that bye. But if you can squeeze into the 3rd and 4th spot, you will get a better matchup the first time around. So there's your FAK Esports roster on your screens. YSKM, who's gotten so many fans throughout the summer split. Hollow Pretender, who's also been proving himself over and over again. And Eminem, as well as Karis in the bottom lane. And talking a bit more about YSKM, he picked the Fiora yesterday, or rather his team picked him the Fiora yesterday. The team also played that AP Ash with Leandries, an ADC position that we do see on 12-13 recently, but it didn't matter though in the end because they still lost out to CFO, but it did show quite a bit of promise. I think the Ash easily is something like 25k damage by the end, easily like the highest damage out of all 10 members, but towards the end it just really didn't matter and CFO were able to bag that one. However, they're going up against BYG today, who is more even in terms of skill level, so we'll see.
Yeah, and FAK Esports definitely feel like a team that does feel built similar to CFO, but they just don't have the punching power that CFO does. So when you're up against when you're CFO light taking on the originals, definitely can be a bit of a struggle. But against BYG, both of these teams, there's a reason why they are 5th, 6th, right? Because they have their ups, but they are also extremely flawed. As we get to take a look at the Megabank Beyond Gaming lineup, it's Lee Kai really committed to here up in the top side, Husha Minji, Wako Kino. And the big glaring weakness that we see from the Beyond Gaming boys in comparison to the FAK Esports team is the fact that FAK Esports, they show a lot of diversity in their champion picks, whereas on the flip side, we don't necessarily see that from the solo laners on the side of Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. I think if there's an outlet for FAK Esports to win through for this game, it's going to definitely be try to punish the solo laners of Beyond Gaming, which turns out for FAK Esports is a good way for them to win, because that's the way that they've always liked to win in most of their summer split victories. Today's matchup, top lane, it's going to be YSKM versus Lee Kai. In the mid lane, it's also Pretender versus Minju. So, YSKM and Pretender have definitely been some of the better performing members on the squad of FAK Esports, and it just matches up perfectly for them that they go up against the weaker members of BYG. So today's featured matchup, as you can see, it's the YSKM versus Lee Kai show over in top, and Lee Kai does seem to have pretty good stats for the KDA. Does have less games, however, because BYG have been rotating between Lee Kai as well as Liang still in the summer. But I think one of the most notable stats for us here today is definitely the solo kill stat. It's 14 times that YSKM has just managed to solo bolo his way through the top side for a solo kill, but Lee Kai on the other hand with just 2 solo kills, 1v1 top in summer.
Yeah, that number feels a little bonkers for YSKM, because that's more solo kills than games that they've played. It is true. Absolutely ridiculous.
You're not wrong.
How dominant he has been in that top lane, and this is the most glaring mismatch because of Lee Kai's dependence on the Gnar pick. Whereas on the flip side, YSKM has been constantly punishing Gnar picks every single time, although it didn't pan out very well yesterday against Rest Gnar. But I think it really just came down to a couple of misplayed 1v1 situations. We're into pick ban. We'll see if Beyond Gaming do go ahead, lock in the Gnar, and how things pan out in that regard. But they've already gone ahead, banned away the Fiora, even though the Fiora didn't do well yesterday. They want no part of it.
Yeah, so they're trying to instantly target ban YSKM. The thing is, he's actually whipped out so many champions in Summer Split alone. There is Silas as well, so this is interesting. Oh, Lee Sin versus Husha. So they're actually leaving a lot of power picks available on 12-13. You've got the Poppy, you've got the Jerry also. Talia has been banned out, so we won't see the Poppy and Talia combo this time around. But Frank actually has so many options about what they want to first pick. No.
This would be an interesting pick because when we take a look at 12-13, probably the most powerful AD carry is still going to be Zeri. However, the Sivir, when you do give her the time to scale up, Sivir has been absolutely disgusting in certain situations. So I think for Frank Esports, they're comfortable with getting one or the other. And for Beyond Gaming, I mean, you lock in the Yuumi here, you can still pair it with either or. So you can take the Zeri or the Sivir and you'll be happy with those pairings with the Yuumi. So yeah, I think they'll go for maybe the Yuumi Poppy.
Yeah, maybe the Yuumi Gnar also. So they are going to lock in the Yuumi. And as you mentioned, I think the strat for both these teams was they leave at both power AD picks in the Sivir as well as Jerry. They also leave at both power junglers, Poppy as well as Trundle, although Frank did lock in the Wukong. So you can see BYG just being like spoiled for choice. I think Sivir is just too strong on 12-13 right now to not lock her in with the Yuumi combination. It's just really rare that we see both of them make it through on the same side. So that's what they will do though. And Wukong wouldn't be the wildest thing if it is a flex pick. I'm not sure how interested Frank Esports actually are to go for the Gnar deny pick versus Lee Kai. So they might look to lock in the Zeri and Lister combination. Would be just, typical 12-13 things if they do go for that. I mean, boring, but it works.
Yeah,
if they do that though, BYG gets Gnar on the third rotation. And like mid lane right now is so open that they don't really need to pick a mid right now. They're not in a rush. But oh, Jax? What?
Yeah, I mean, this has been YSKM's fallback pick for blind pick top. He has not played the Gnar, or I don't believe he has locked in Gnar yet. Yeah, he has played 0 games of Gnar, and every single time he's just played counter picks into the Gnar. So for Lee Kai, if he locks this in, he is most likely going to be in a world of hurt, as it will be perhaps an RA pick locked in for Minji. So that is probably one of his more comfort champions that are more meta-esque in this current iteration of the game. And now when we go into second phase, most likely for Beyond Gaming, just throw a couple more bans towards champs that you don't want to play into as the Ahri pick, like the Lissandra, perhaps even the LeBlanc here.
They can ban Jerry too, and the thing is, Frank Esports already self-banned the Lucian, so they don't actually have Lucian and Alistar available for them. Kalista's been banned out also, so they're really short a lot of options that would be good to combo with the Alistar. There's the Aphelios gone as well. So not a lot left on the table for Frank Esports. The Ahri pickup for Minji, though, very smart for them. I think Minji has had the best performance in summer on Ahri as well as Silas. Silas not available this this time around. And like, I mean, the rest of Minji's champs are like Oriana, which we don't really see anymore in the current patch. So there's the Poppy gonna be banned out. At least Trundle open. Oh, yo, I would love to see Nyla, but like we can't. But I mean, we can for playoffs, just not yet, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stoked that we saw like Belveth already like last week, but yeah, they're just having fun. Is it gonna be a talent top into the Jax? It's probably gonna be Sedge, maybe Gragas, but I mean, there's still the wow. So no Gnar, because of course you don't want to play it into YSKM. So I think Frank, we're very smart. They played this very well. You know, they left Gnar open for Lee Kai, but then blind picked the Jax. So just pretty much not letting Lee Kai play the Gnar instead. And I just can't believe that they left the Jerry open, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they go ahead ban away the Philios did leave Zeri available in the second phase, and it does get locked in here. And of course, you know, you have the Silver Yumi, and Zeri is one of those champions that doesn't punish Silver Yumi, so it does mean that this lane will be allowed to scale. So banning away the Philios did make perhaps a little bit more sense to the side of Beyond Gaming, and it will be that last pick of the Swain for Frank Esports. So a lot of teamfight power and a lot of Wombo close range potential coming in from the squad, and it's just a matter of can Beyond Gaming keep their distance with the extra move speed coming in from Sivir and being able to disengage with that Trundle pillar, as that ends up being the last pick for Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, this Swain pick up pretty good to combo with the rest of the squad. I think Swain Wukong has pretty good synergy. The Jerry Lister, of course, also strong as well. For BYG, I think they have a bit of a mixed bag in terms of draft. They have a lot of options available for them. You've got Minji, who wants to go into the side lanes and roam. You've got Husha, who should be able to put pressure on the Trundle early on. And then you've got Wako, who just wants to scale. I mean, Wako is just one of those players who's just, you give him any type of AD carry like Sivir, like Jerry, like Aphelios, where he can just like hyper carry late. He's gonna be there for your team. So I'm super hyped to see how that one plays out. I think BYG managed to pick up a lot of things that work to their natural strengths, right? Ari on Minji is one of his top performing champions, that sort of thing. Even though I think the biggest weakness is probably still going to be Lee Kai up top. So we'll see how the early game plays out for that one, because I mean, Wukong, if he does focus a lot of attention up top, Lee Kai could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I think this draft really worked out to what Beyond Gaming wanted to do, which was allocate as much time for this Trundle to stay up towards this top half of the map, which of course also plays to Frank Esports' strength. But when you do have a Silver Yumi, you know this lane can scale insanely well. So headed on to the Rift, this is the 5-6 matchup here in our standings, with both of these teams locked in for playoffs, but looking for more wins to maybe overtake J-Team later on next week.
Yeah, and it's all a bit up in the air, right? What kind of condition J-Team is going to be coming out of COVID next week. They managed to postpone their matches this week, but I mean, COVID's kind of always a bit tricky. Sometimes you don't only take 1 week to fully recover. And also
sickness, right?
Yeah, and like they kind of, you know, got it a bit staggered as well. It was for some people, and then they're starting to recover, but then other people are also just now falling sick. So we don't really know how J-Team will perform in week number 6. It's definitely leaving some spots open for Frank and BYG to try and squeeze their way in.
Yeah, it looks like we're possibly looking for a late invade, but I mean, the Prowling Projectile does find someone in the bush, which means that they will go ahead back off from their late invade adventures to try and get that late Warden. And it will be red buff starts coming in from both sides. So how do you feel about where both of these junglers are starting, and what are your thoughts on how they want to execute this early game?
So it's YSKM knew that the Sejani was gonna be helping the Trundle. over on the red side. So he just kind of caught him out over towards the tri bush. It is a bit interesting. They are going to both be pathing. Well, for BYG, they're going to be pathing towards the bot side this time around. I think we're. Can I get a pause? Yeah, we're gonna try it.
It's a pause. I mean, it's not PCS day without some pause, right?
That's true.
So...
That's true. I've been pretty happy about, you know, how the current patch, at least this week, you know, yesterday we ended like bang on time, something like 8:56 p.m. The games were done, and I was like, wow, we're early. This has never happened before in our lives casting PCS. But I mean, you know, we got word from our producers. Hopefully the break isn't going to be as long, and I'm just a bit embarrassed because when the game's going on, I kind of, you know, sit back in my chair, I put the mic closer to me, I kind of like, you know, lean back, get comfortable for the next 30 minutes, but it's all good, you know, we're all friends here, you know, no one minds, right? I've got COVID, come on, I get a pass.
Just chilling back. That's the
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's what CFO did that last game. I mean, Bing chilling just worked for them. They Bing chilled for 30 minutes and then just won.
Shouldn't it? But
that's true.
I mean, mission had no show. As we're back into the game, and immediately it's a trade in that bottom lane. This is great for the Yuumi at level 1 because, well, the Alistar doesn't do anything. So they hit level 2 here. Pretender still looking for more trades against Minji. I mean, it's just trades all around.
Oh, they're both so low early on. Minji also has the electrocute, so actually level 2 it's a bit harder to proc that to punish. But it really doesn't matter because you're kind of going up against the Swain also. Pretender is running the Ghost Flash. Hello, very early invade this time around actually. I mean, looks like he's gonna path top. He wants to try and steal Krug's. Oh,
Husha coming in.
Oh, they landed charm.
Does pop the flash coming in from Pretender, and the move speed is going to be enough for him to just really walk on out of here. He's going to be forced the long way though. No cheat codes, no shortcuts back into the mid lane, and YSKM continues to just stack up on those grass procs every single time, as Hollow also carving out some space. But now in this bottom lane, we of course see Husha hovering around the spot side, but
yeah, Kino's not attached to Wako right now. Kind of the way you want to play like the Yuumi, you want to just use your Q to go for the long range poke. That's a bit harder to dodge. I mean, Karis is on Alistar, so it does have a bit of a sustain available and heal for Eminem. But yep, so he's onto the Sivir, but meanwhile over up top, YSKM dropping pretty low in terms of mana. Also actually doesn't have a wave to jump back onto, and he's pretty far pushed up. So they do have Scuttle in topside river, so he does know that he's not at danger yet of being 2v1, but yikes, this is really how he wants to play it, though Husha is actually close by. That's his last pop charge too.
Husha, this should be a very easy punish. Does have the ward to jump to. Will be able to walk away.
Yeah, that was smart from BYG because Frank has the mid-river warded.
Wako in trouble. We'll be able to stave off that first engage. Now looking to turn things on its head, and
yeah, Wako just gonna Wako out of that one. But I mean, BYG, they were smart. They had Husha go through Tribush instead of River, which is why YSKM thought that he was so far pushed up. And on top of my dog board, Minji right there, another charm onto Pretender, just really trying to punish Swain's ability to roam into the side lanes, even though I mean they're still level 5, so still P6. Hollow again, invade, getting a bunch of good vision down. Oh, he walks out of the return of the Q, but here comes Husha.
The flash now burned. Can they find the execute on the Pretender? The flash forward comes in Hollow, but it's first blood for the Swain, and now Hollow maybe trying to chase after Husha, but way too healthy and also way too close to his tower. So Hollow will go ahead back off, take away that control ward in that pixel bush, and all things considered, while it was a nice trade for Pretender, gold-wise, BYG do get a little more out of it since they did get the assist for
Yeah, but both teams also pretty much dead even in terms of gold even after that. When we take a look at how that started, Minji actually lands a pretty good combo with the
it. Mhm.
charm and then getting the extra damage down from the Q and W. Pretender is able to zone out very well. I think here is where things start to get a bit dicey. I think both of the mid laners kind of got a bit aggressive, knowing that they thought they were going to be able to play this 2v1. And there's Minji does not expect Hollow to actually flash aggressively come around from the side, but actually gets taken out. But I think it was the auto attack
Mhm. Yep.
from the Swain, so it doesn't even matter that they had backup right there either. So bit of a misplay, miscalculation, bit of overaggression I think coming out from Minji. Has it level 6 this time around, so we'll have a bit more mobility, a bit more escape tools, but not a good look. Not the best look for Minji so far.
Yeah, Minji has been one of those players that has struggled in lane, and while Pretender hasn't been the most dominant laner, has still been pretty strong himself as YSKM jumps in, gets a really healthy trade against Lee Kai, and it's really just about the sustain battle, right? Because you have Corrupting Potion on both of the solo laners, whereas on the flip side, neither of the solo laners on the side of Beyond Gaming, they've got Corrupting Potion, but they don't have that extra bit of sustain. And that's why Pretender keeps going for these trades, but now Husha showing up, that's going to force the ultimate coming in for Pretender. I think that's just good enough for the side Beyond Gaming. Fortunately for FAK Esports, because they've already secured that dragon, it doesn't feel like there's a need for this Swain ultimate, unless if they wanted to go for
5 though. He
Rift
doesn't
Herald.
have his ultimate.
Okay, that's the ultimate. Try and chase. And Eminem going for the 1v2 is going to put down a lot of damage, but they will be able to walk it off. Well, kind
That
of.
was very good timing from Frank also, because Waka's Ghost is only just coming up right now, and Kino also is about like 15 seconds off of the heal. So very good timing from Frank, just recognizing that BYG's bottom lane did not have their escape or heal available for them then, and they're able to dish out so much damage, of course, and the back also. So we might see a lane swap with some Union and Silver just heading towards mid lane right here. We've got Husha as well as Kai just trying to pick up Shelly. They will be able to get it pretty easy. They do have keyboard control of the bot side river bush right there, so Hollow steps in, knows what's going on, but also knows that he can't contest this at all. So good from BYG, you know, their bot side gets punished, they recognize there are a couple of members from FAK Esports bot, and then they instantly rotate to go for the Rift Herald play up top. So we like to see that, you know, good fundamentals, always nice to see for BYG, even if a lot of fans, especially coming out of last year's PCS, might have expected a bit more coming out from this squad this year. Even if BYG haven't quite been able to live up to those expectations, they're still a fairly solid team.
Yeah, and BYG, they do get slightly punished for that rotation over to the Rift Herald though, right? Where Wako Kino started pathing over to Rift Herald, but because of that, they do end up dropping, not sure how many minions, but it was a decent chunk of minions to that bot lane tower. So Eminem will have a healthy wave coming towards him, while I'm also having a healthy wave, and they already have minion advantages. So this gold lead will get more and more favored towards the side of FAK Esports, as right now it's just kind of a small lead, but again, when we talk about their composition, it's very Wombo heavy. So for BYG, it's definitely dangerous coming into this next dragon when you consider the Wombo potential coming in from FAK Esports.
Yeah, and here's part of the Wombo coming towards mid. We'll get spotted out by the pink ward though. Pretender does have the blue buff. I think we saw Husha just kind of hover around the river just now. Not sure if he wanted to give blue over towards Minji. Yep, they're gonna give it over right now. Minji is kind of looking for a good timing over at mid to shove and then walk out of lane to pick up the blue buff. So they're gonna get the hound off right now, or is what they're hoping to do.
Eventually.
Eventually, they'll get there.
Husha, with this Rift Herald, maybe looking to just plop it down into the mid lane. Maybe looking for an opportunity, but now walking in with the Yuumi. So definitely a lot of dueling power here, and something Hollow does not want to really contest until he has backup as now carries making his way over. Do they go for this play though? It doesn't look like it. Trying to scare him off, send him out of their jungle, go home.
Yeah. Send him back home. No League of Legends for you today. There's the pillar gonna come out.
Oh, good
Didn't you go? Yeah, his charm's not gonna land into Pretender, so he's just gonna walk out there like, oh, what a good pullback.
Big
as
value.
Well. Yeah, stonks. That's just stonks, man. I mean, Dragon's still only 1 minute, so this doesn't really have a lot of long-term significance because they can't really get a setup off of this. But Pretender just mechanicsing Minji right there. Didn't need to pop Ghost, was 1v2 and played it to perfection. Meanwhile, top side, we haven't really seen a lot going on between Kai as well as Bias Cam. They've both been very content to just farm it out. Minji, though, taking a lot of damage from Pretender. They've got Hollow as well as Karis. Karis did show. They don't have the minions, though. So, Hollow, once again, we've seen him time and again this game try to go for the invades. This is at least his third invade under 12 minutes in this one, but just hasn't been able to convert that into any real type of impact just yet, especially on the Wukong. So, good instincts. We just, want to see something a bit more quantifiable from him. Meanwhile, Dragon is going to be up in about 5 seconds. We'll see which team gets there first.
And if we look at the itemization here, Pretender going for the early stopwatch in his runes. That'll be something to keep note of when we come into this next dragon. But the big part is Minji does have his mythic completed. He does get lashed on. He's going to get jumped on. That will be the last chapter coming out. Hollow getting very, very low. He might just burn down. It will be the subjugate to secure the kill. Big kill for the side of BYG as now Dragon is spawned. So they will have Dragon advantage here in the side of Friend Peace. Be forced to...
Lee Kai, though, he uses TP to get back up top, so he's not gonna go to TP to the Dragon fight, though. YS Cam, however, oh my god, so they're just, yep, they can't fight it, they know that. I mean, Lee Kai knew that he didn't really need to use TP at that point in time, but...
I mean, it's also not unleashed teleport, right? So you're not gonna be able to teleport straight to the fight. So even if YS Cam were to make that rotation, you'd have to still walk a good ways from either the mid or the bot tower to actually make it to the fight. So, and not to mention, like, Frank Esports, no smite available, right? So they're forced to back off as we get to see the replay of how this goes down. Charge goes through. Minji, of course, on the Ahri, being able to play super far forward with a flash and also triple dashes coming in from his ultimate. And Hollow ends up just getting caught out. And with how much lockdown is available from both the Charm and the Everfrost, it does convert into a kill. So nice little play there from BYG, but the issue is they're still down in gold.
Yeah, they're down a bit in gold, mostly due to the tower plates. I think there are 3 tower plates. Oh, they took 3s for the 480 golds.
It's still 20 CS difference in top and bot.
Yeah, it's the Jax as well as the Jerry with the extra CS gold. It's not all that much, it's about 600 over at the almost 15-minute mark. And also we're past 14 minutes, there's no more tower plate gold to really give that little bit of advantage anymore. BYG this time, they're gonna get the Rift Herald, would help them. They've got literally no lanes pushing for them at this point in time. Don't even really need Lee Kai. Minji with the realm on top. YS Cam, he's gonna recognize that he does not have a favorable wave position for him to escape on the Jax. So he's just gonna walk out of that one before trouble comes to him. He's gonna dip. And BYG with the smart rotations, they're just gonna drop the Shelly over towards mid instantly to pick up first brick.
The first brick taken by them as they will get the second charge. However, on the flip side, they lose that bottom tower. So it will be an even tower trade, and Frank Esports, they don't lose too much when it comes to the gold aspect. And it's just about funneling Eminem as much as possible, right? Where he gets solo lane EXP, it gets him more levels, and that's pretty scary when it comes to Zeri, right? Because you max
Yeah,
Q, but the more levels you get,
absolutely.
that makes those electro lasers, extendo beams hit really, really hard later on because you do have those additional skill points added.
And I think one pain point for Frank Esports is I'm not too sure what options the Jax has in the late game in terms of who to jump on for the squad of BYG, because BYG actually have a lot of anti-dive in their composition. They've got just like the point blank Ari Charm if the Jax jumps in. They've also got the Silver Spell Shield. They've got Yumi who will just instantly lay down her ult if YSKM decide to go for it and engage. There's also Liu Kai who can just throw his R if anything untoward does happen. So I'm a bit worried for how YSKM can kind of play this later on. They definitely need to combo it with the Wukong with the Swain going in at the start to try and burn some of the other utility on the squad of BYG. But just solo 1v1, I think it will be a bit difficult for YSKM. However, we've seen him pull some crazy things out in the past in the summer split, so I still have hope.
Yeah, I mean, it really boils down to how well can YSKM split up the map with this side lane pressure offered up by the Jazz. Now he might be in a 1v2 situation, 1v3 possibly. He's currently taking a 1v1, but Wako Huxia somewhat nearby. Huxia is going to commit to helping him out, throws down the pillar, gets the slow, and now the ultimate comes in from Lee Kai, and they should be able to secure this kill onto YSKM. He will slowly burn down, and Lee Kai will finish off that 1v2 situation, and now
YSKM, YSK, no, and now Frank, they're down one member. It looks like BYG want to posture for river control here. Oh, there's a healing out.
the ultimate does land onto Hollow, but it will actually be to the detriment of Ninji. He's going to be one ulting out. He has no more charges left on his ultimate, and that will be an exchange of ults. As now we're taking a look, like BYG, they have no ultimates left available, and Pretender still has his, so that will be the member to watch out, and they're going to be forced out of the dragon area. As now YSKM coming in for a flank. This choke point is incredibly hard once Eminem throws in a couple of those zaps.
They're trying to wait for Lee Kai to draw him out, but they don't have time.
Oh, that's the flash in coming in from Pretender, buying a lot of space, but can they charge forward enough? The ultimates just aren't there for the side of BYG, as that will be the pick off onto Lee Kai. He even throws out his ultimate at the very end in futility. So Frank Esports now looking to secure themselves a dragon, but it looks like the side of BYG, they're still interested. Teleport coming in. Minji showing up for the fight, maybe a little bit late. Do they go for a chase? Do they continue chasing? It will be the chase, but Minji will be the one to fall. And now Wako Huxia still trying to stick around, and Eminem, he definitely is more than willing to trade a little bit longer, keep them a little bit interested, as Pretender pinned now to the wall. Does get his back stopped, but I mean, that's all it's going to be. Just a little bit of annoyance.
I mean, BYG, what are you doing, man? We all believed in you. Just error after error, mistake after mistake. They did get the kill. I'm not sure even just how far back this replay is going to start. So it's going to be where, if you watch Lee Kai, BYG are actually waiting for Lee Kai to get his ultimate up. It's the only one I think that they have a chance of getting up, because Booming had used it earlier on. Okay, we got a bit of a tech issue. I wasn't sure if it was just my remix, and I was just trying to, analyze this team fight from memory and not from the visual, which, all good casters should be able to do. Just, cast off of sound, cast off of visual. Wait, if we all keep quiet, I can hear the game sound. Oh, well, it's gone. Anyways, so that fight, right? So we don't really... Gosh, I am way too comfy in this chair again. But anyway, so that
You are
fight...
hard chilling.
I am hard chilling. That's true. BYG just played a bit too relaxed. So if we go back a bit before the team fight, what happened was they were able to get the 3v1 onto YSKM. It started out great for them. It was 30 seconds
Mhm.
until the Cloud Drake was going to come up. So they recognized that they get the pick onto YSKM. But then what
Mhm.
do? They get just a bit too antsy and then they try to pick a fight mid. But why? Dragon is literally coming up in 30 seconds. Save your ultimates. They use Kino's Yumi ultimate over in mid side, I think, to try and catch out Pretender when what they should have done was just man advantage their way into the next Dragon over at the fight. And then after they lose Dragon, after they lose the fight, what do they do next? Minji shows up in the river and then just feeds his way into the squad of Frank Esports. I mean, BYG, I love this team. I expected better. I wanted to see better. I am so tilted. I don't even think the team is this
Man,
tilted. I am tilted. I am like hard
man,
tilted.
COVID Jenny hits different. Holy.
Yo, yo, I'm just like locked in my room. I have to like make sure, like when I open the door, that my family's not outside, so I don't spread like the plague to them and stuff. Yeah,
Healthy Jenny
I'm
is so
going.
chill,
I know,
but
right?
COVID Jenny, like,
Healthy Jenny's just
fists
ASMRing
out.
her way,
Fists out.
just being like, I love every team. I love PCS. We're such a tight knit community. COVID Jenny's just like, what are they doing and why? Oh
Let
my
me at
god.
him. Fists out. Fight me.
Sub me in,
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
I'll sneeze on him.
I would have to agree. Minji in the past couple games has not really performed up to the level that we would expect from a BYG mid laner. And that fight really exemplified, right? Because they had the man advantage. I can understand why you want to get another pick, right? Because you do have the Ari ultimate, you do have the Yumi ultimate. But the fact that Minji ends up expending all three of his charges, and it doesn't result in a pick, really hit them hard. And that bit him pretty hard, especially when he teleports without his ultimate backup, right? All he's there is just a vehicle for Yumi to sit on, and then he gets caught out.
That's the thing with the Yumi.
Dies.
Right, because Yumi in general as a champ, like what she does, if your teammates are maybe not the best at decision making, is she just gets onto one of her teammates, enables them to run it down even faster, and like I just don't understand. I mean, I'm not sure if we will eventually see the replay of that one. What happened? Minji, I think he gets caught out by the Swain, and then he panic presses E, literally like in between three people. There's like two people here. There's one person here. He charms like this way, hits nothing, and then he just gets jumped on and dies. And
Jenny, he's playing soccer. He's playing soccer.
Oh my god!
You know, you shoot between the goalposts.
Holy cow! Is that what I need to start telling my team whenever I miss skill shots?
Yeah. You're just playing a different game.
Okay.
But now we get the we get the replay here, and again, while BYG they have the health bar advantage, the issue is they don't have the ults. And so Gary's his ult does fade, but the one ultimate the side of Frank Esports do have is this ultimate coming in from the Swain, and it just buys so much space. It's such a distraction, and allows YSKM then to just hop forward and play super aggressive because everyone's so occupied with running away from the Swain. The teleport comes through. And this is what you also highlighted, right? It's just Minji coming in and just sprinting straight to his death.
Like, he gets caught out right here, and then he just leaves. Like, he had vision YSKM in that ward too. What was he doing? I mean, he was panicking. We were all panicking with watching this thing play out because this was just not a pleasant experience for anyone involved. But we're gonna put that behind us. Take stock of the situation.
Hey,
BYG
Jenny.
are still yes. I meant to boom right now. You know,
even if they sprinted it down that moment, they're only down 300 gold. You know?
Yes.
Genius.
Yes.
See, it didn't cost them.
What did it cost? Not much.
Nothing.
Apparently, it's gonna be the answer to that one. I appreciate you trying
Positivity,
to boost my mental.
Jenny.
Exactly. So, like, in everything
PMA.
besides COVID, we want to stay positive. COVID, we do not quite want to, you know, stay positive. But I really appreciate it, you know, because Frank, of course, you're a hard supporter of Frank Esports. naturally. Your namesake team. So I do appreciate that you're here trying to help boost my spirits at the way
Yep.
BYG is playing.
Yeah, and if anyone at Frank Esports want to let me know where I can get a Frank Esports naming a YSKM jersey, please hit me up.
Sheesh.
And
we need to make that happen. I feel like we for sure need to make that happen.
Someone, I hope someone from Frank Esports is watching this, or word gets out to one of them. As you can see here, 22.5 minutes into the game, kind of hit a bit of a lull state because we're waiting for the next dragon to pop up, and clearly both of these teams are not really teams to just hard flip, so we're not going to see a very daring attempt at the Baron buff, especially with how much scaling these 80 carries have. They don't exactly destroy Baron quite yet.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a run-in, run-out type of situation, especially on the side of Frank Esports. Lee Kylo is going to, after swapping over toward bot side, take down, finally, the bot side tier at number 1. Still kind of pretty slow game in terms of towers. Frank Esports only 1 tower taking on their side, BYG still only 2, which is kind of the reason why we haven't seen the map really being opened up yet. We've seen these team fights that have really been happening around objectives, such as the Dragon, or even around in the mid lane. Haven't quite seen a lot of dragons in control just yet, but this might all change. Wacko, his Q not quite going to land. There was a bit of a change on 12.13 to the Q. Instead of 1350 speed out and in, it's now like 1400 out, 1250 in. But anyway, just no stats because I'm a nerd. Next dragon is available. Will be the second stack for Frank Esports of the Cloud Drake. And BYG, let's start it off.
Yeah, right now it does look to be a little bit difficult for YSKM. He actually jumps into the pit, so applying a little bit of pressure here, and now he jumps forward, throwing down the counter strike, buys a little bit of space. Carries jumps in, gets a 3-man knock-up. But the sustain coming in from the Yumi isn't enough. It's not, as the Pretender's charging forward. He's trying to get these kills. He ends up getting a double kill, and it will be Frank Esports running away with this fight. No damage done. Husha will go down at the end as well. And Frank Esports play that fight to perfection as BYG fall apart at the seams.
No, Bibby, what is you doing? BYG, we're the ones to start out that fight. We're gonna take a look at the replay, hopefully, of how it all went down.
Ask and you shall receive, Jenny.
Yikes. They got the scrying orb over around the back. The thing is, they lose position. One's team, all he needs to do is jump straight in and zone, and then they just land so much good CC, good stuns onto the back of BYG that Frank Esports, they're also kind of doing 2 things at once. They're cleaning up BYG, and they're also going to be able to pick up the Cloud Drake after this, but just very split fight, I think, from the side of BYG. We had this question the entire game about how Frank Esports would be able to play the team fights. They need first the engage from Hollow or Pretender, which is, and then they need the YSKM follow-up. This time around, they actually didn't even need that. They had YSKM just jump straight into zone, and they were just able to stack the rest of their CC. So definitely a well-played 5v5 from Frank Esports. I think BYG just got a bit panicky right there. They split up. They weren't really able to kind of protect each other with their abilities. Wacko was kind of also left alone.
Oh, here comes the play though. That's going to be the engage coming in for carries. Also with follow, and that will be the 80 carry falling very, very quickly. And without Wacko, they just don't have the damage. The chase is on. Eminem goes in. He's got the zoomies. He is going to chase down one more. Gets himself a triple, and this is going to be not the quad because YSKM wants in on the fun. And with the Baron buff, this should be a lot of structures getting shattered in the Beyond Gaming base. And
it's absolutely wild to me how Frank Esports managed to, in the last 5 minutes, just the last 5 minutes, Wacko's up in 2 seconds. Karis is a bit low. He might be able to get a bounce off, but I don't. Yeah, Frank are just going to kind of respect the Wacko respawn and then just back out of that one. I'm not really sure how much I can do because Frank Esports are going to still have the Baron buff as well. Replay, yep, of the mid side fight.
Break it down.
So Yumi Ultimate right there actually goes completely wide. It doesn't really land on anyone on Frank Esports. And I think really the crucial point for BYG here is that they do not protect Wako. This team fight, as well as the fight at Dragon, the thing is, you picked the rest of your squad, which was Ari and Trundle for early game, and Sejuani for Lee Kai for the team fight. So literally, your only damage source is your Sivir. It is your scale until late game Wako. And when it comes to late game, what do BYG do? They do not protect the Sivir. And that's just kind of unfortunate. You could see Kino also just kind of panic hit R when they were under their mid-side tower and didn't get any of the buff done.
Possibly caught out.
The catch out
He gets
win.
stunned. A lot of ultimates invested, but he's still alive. He's buying so much time, and now Hollow jumps on in, uses the knockup and gets a 4-man knockup, and now the reinforcements are coming, but it doesn't look like Eminem needs any of those reinforcements because he is just so far ahead. It will be BYG able to walk off with a couple members still, but Pretender, he'll be able to walk down Husha eventually. Level 16 or level 12, there's a very small chance he actually gets to walk away. Eventually burns down. Kino and Minji.
Someone call the SPCA, because that's just cat abuse right there. I mean, Frank Esports.
That's animal abuse.
That really is. Like, someone called the cops. Not for me, for Kino, for BYG, for this entire squad. I mean, Frank Esports, that right there, when how YSKM, well, they managed to get YSKM, but it was still really close at the end right there. I don't think that Frank Esports should have been able to do that when you get YSKM caught out of position. That was just absolute goal difference at that point in time. I don't know, man. I think from the 20-minute mark, BYG was just, I don't know if it was the technical issues, the pause, or whatever that might have affected them. Maybe coming off of their loss versus PSG yesterday might have affected them somehow as well. But we were talking about how close today's match was going to be between Frank and BYG, both tied 5th currently at before this game on the leaderboard. And with this win over BYG, Frank Esports, they're through to playoffs.
I mean, both of these teams were going to be through the playoffs, but now Frank Esports have a game up on them, and what really is the consequence of this this victory is the fact that Frank Esports, they're going to be able to close the gap onto J-Team, whereas the side of BYG, they will continue to be really stuck in this 6th position. And while it doesn't look like there's going to be much competition below them to actually lose that 6th spot, it does mean they will be most likely playing against the 3rd seed, which would be either DCG or CFO, which is, you know, either way, you do not want to play one of those teams.
Exactly. I mean, as you mentioned, you don't want to play versus DCG and CFO, who are tied 2nd. Right now, Frank Esports, with this win, they are now 8-6. J-Team are 8-4 currently, so even though both teams have won 8 games, of course, J-Team do have another 2 matches, 3 at the end of this week for them to really catch up. So it might look close right now, but depending on how J-Team play next week, depending on where the cards fall at the end of week 6, we will see how it plays out. But I mean, what a game for Frank Esports, you know. That was so close up until around like 15-18 minutes. The goal difference is less than 1,000 throughout, and then just coming back from the pause, coming back from that dragon fight, just things just absolutely fell to pieces for BYG. Just bad decision after bad decision, and I just feel like it wasn't really the normal BYG that we expected to see. You can see the goal difference over time right there is like about 24 minutes in. The goal was kept so even as well. It's just BYG falling apart where it counted.
Yeah, it really just boiled down to that one fight, because after that fight, the side of Frank Esports, they go ahead, take the Baron, and BYG, they get themselves a dragon, but it's only a cloud dragon. It doesn't give you any battle stats, and Frank Esports, they were able to really effectively snowball, and you can see that while the Ari pick may be Minji's most comfortable champion, it didn't really offer a whole lot in their composition. They weren't able to play a lot of early game, get a lot of picks in the early mid-game phase, that once it gets to the full-blown team fight, the Ari cooldowns are just too long in comparison to something like a Swain, who's able to just constantly chase down, get more and more heals, and the Ari only has single target damage, and it's not even all that much.
Yep, we're gonna take a look at who's MVP for this game, and oh, it's gonna go over to Pretender on the swing 2-1 and 11. Seems pretty well deserved, you know. I think Hollow, even though he did try to make a lot of invades, a lot of moves, they didn't really amount to all that much in the early game. I think Pretender, YSKM as well, had some pretty good performances, and it's definitely fair enough for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at his performance, he was playing super aggressive in the lane phase, which is something we haven't seen from Pretender this split whatsoever. And he's been slowly building that part of his game up, right? If FAK Esports are to make a run in the playoffs, they need Pretender to be more aggressive and be that playmaker in that mid lane. And he played his role in this particular game, was aggressive in the lane phase, and also flashed forward to create space for the Jax, for the Zeri to then follow up and clean up these fights.
Yeah, he did play out the 1v1 versus Minji on Ahri very well. Also, we saw a few times just straight up 1v1 pushing the Ahri out of lane, getting the Ahri low. Also played the 1v2 very well. Also, there's that one instance over in the mid lane where he was getting ganked at the tower, and he didn't even have to expend his ghost or any summoners, and he just kind of played it out, managed to get the stun down on both Husha as well as Minji, and they were like, wait a second, who is ganking Q right now? And yeah, just very good play. It really bodes well for them going into next week and going into playoffs also. So huge props and congratulations to FAK Esports. Don't go anywhere, guys, though. We're going to go for a very short break before we come back with our third match of the series. It's going to be Sem 9, currently in 10th place on the table, going up against Impunity, who are 8th. So definitely a pretty exciting match. You don't want to miss that one. I'm gonna go grab some popcorn or something. I'm gonna text my parents to tell them to leave some popcorn outside my door so I can like snack on the popcorn while we watch the next game. But guys, you don't want to miss it. We'll see you in just a bit.